Good morning, and thank you for joining us today. Yes, we know this is a huge challenge and a huge concern that we need to address. But I know that the governor also spoke recently about this matter. But concerning some of those, the caucus did identify some of the challenges, but what kind of interface is going on from your perspective between perhaps the security agencies, maybe your caucus, the state government? What's happening in that area? It looks as if there's a huge gap, hence the need why the caucus had to raise an alarm.
Yeah, thank you very much. Several times we receive security information from the people on ground concerning attacks, and especially there was an attack that took place in Kaura local government, and then I was speaking with the rep and he raised an alarm, and I gathered that they even informed the security agent concerning the alarm, concerning the security threats. But unfortunately, the same thing happened. So sometimes we wonder what is going on, because if there's a threat and then the security apparatus are well informed, we expect that everything has to be done to prevent the event occurring. But unfortunately, we keep receiving reports that there's going to be an attack here, and sometimes you just feel it's a rumor. And until you see that attack happen, you now begin to wonder, So anytime we receive news now, we try to make sure that we inform the security apparatus to be on ground and then be at watch. But unfortunately, every now and then, the same thing will happen.
But some of what we've seen and read, some security agents are quoted to have said, this is not just a one-sided attack, because it appears that that's a picture that has been painted. Is that the case?
The statistics are there for everybody to see. I'm not saying that a Fulani man has never been killed in southern Kaduna. I'm not saying that a Hausa man has never been killed in southern Kaduna. But look at the population of the people in southern Kaduna. The Fulani men are still grazing, the Hausa are still living. So if the natives of southern Kaduna don't want others to live there, I believe that the rate of killings would have been higher than what you are recording. The government is aware of some of the situation and the problems. Immediately we see anything, we complain and we raise an alarm. But unfortunately, most times things are not handled the way it should be handled.
Do you mean, give us an example
of present killings?
What do you mean things are not handled the way they have to be handled?
Yeah, because, for example, when there are issues of conflicts between different communities, things have to be sorted out immediately. The problem in Zangon, Kataf, and major part of southern Kaduna have been there for long. The crisis in 1992, there were a lot of recommendations. But unfortunately, many of those recommendations were not implemented. The land dispute is there. And then, of course, there are several issues of inequality, negligence by government. There is no federal presence in southern Kaduna, especially the constituency I represent, Zangon, Kataf, and Jaba.
So, if that were the case, okay, you know what, just give us a moment. We'll come back and take a look at some of those issues that you've just mentioned in a moment. Please stay with us. Honorable Magaji, just heard the governor talk about that they're coming up with a white paper with a view to implement that report, but you had said that nothing is being done, it's not been implemented, but there are steps being taken. And those statements or decisions of intent, which is aimed at solving the problem?
The white paper of the report of the crisis in 1992 had not been implemented to the letter. Some things have been done, but there are major areas, especially flash points where crises easily emanate. Many of those things have not been dealt with. That's why even if you hear the report of the governor said since 1992, 28 years after the crisis in Zango, and it's now they are reviewing again, looking back at the white paper that was issued since 1992 crisis. So a lot has not really been done to address this issue. He was also talking about narratives. Different narratives are coming from different sides concerning the killing. Sometimes you open your WhatsApp message, you hear 20-something people have been killed, 300 cattle have been roasted, 1 million, you know, all those things. They have a way of fueling this crisis. And we as leaders have been calling our people, and everyone sitting in southern Kaduna, to be law-abiding and to also be careful with giving false report. But some of the evidences, the killings are there for everyone to verify. You won't play politics with the death of a family member. Never. Because if you are playing politics with it, there are family bleeding. I won't wake up tomorrow and say 20 people have been killed when it's just 2 people. Because the killings in southern Kaduna, you can go back to the families. There are records, there are names attached and villages attached to everyone that has been killed. So we in southern Kaduna, especially the representative, nobody representing people or in leadership position will be happy to see his area of authority or jurisdiction under fire. Nobody, except the person has a wicked heart. I've not been sleeping. Since this crisis started, I've been affected in different areas, emotionally, financially, in different areas. So there's no way somebody...
Can you hear me? Guys, can you see that he can hear me?
Will be happy to see...
Honorable, just hang on a minute. Let's bring in Mr. Ibrahim Bue, who is the former public secretary of the ACF. He joins us on the line this morning. Good morning, and thank you for joining us today. Listening to all of this, the key question will always be, yes, in a view to get a solution to this problem. Could you tell us, from your understanding, why do you think this festers? Oh, dear. Okay. Turns out that we lost him. But let's get back to Honorable Magaji on this one. Well, this particular challenge now in the House, is this something that the caucus, particularly now that that report seems to consider it important to implement, is the caucus going to see how they can broach this topic on the floor of the House?
Yeah, we have motions in regard to the issue in southern Kaduna. We have met with different stakeholders. We have also met with governor, I think several times, and then some key government representatives. We have also had meetings with our people, different communities in different tribes, different people's group in our constituency. We are there always trying to broker peace. The House is, as you saw in our press release, we are in dire need of peace in our community. And that's why we'll do everything possible to support the government in bringing a lasting solution to this crisis. But we want every quarter to be sincere. In dealing with every matter, the truth must stand, and we must face the truth. Not that we're saying today that, okay, we want peace, and we go behind and fuel crisis. So everyone in the place of authority must be seen to be sincere and must be sincere in every action, secretly and openly. That is the only way we can have a lasting solution. Not that we stand in TV, we give press statement and say we want peace, we have taken every step, and then we go back and do the contrary.
Just one moment, Honourable. There was something you said earlier about the report that the Kaduna State government is trying to put together since over the past 28 years. You said some things have been implemented, but some critical things have not been implemented, which is why it seems the crisis is festering. What are these critical things that you think will help to bring the peace?
There is always the issue of land dispute between the Hausa and the Kataf community. And even what brought about this crisis started on the 5th of June. And it was the same issue, land dispute. So if government decide now to settle the land, is it going to be given to Qatar? Is it the Hausa land? Or is government going to take that land? Whatever. But let there be an immediate solution to that problem so that going into next year farming season, the owners of the land will know that I am the one going to farm here. Every farming season, the Qatar will come, the Hausa will come, and say, we are going to farm this land, or whoever goes first to cultivate the land, and then crisis begins. So these are some of the key areas. Some of the issues that were settled before were issues like the district heads of Zango community, and then Zango community now is even a ward on its own.
I think we'll have
been implemented.
But okay, I think we'll have Mr. Brian Bew back on the line this morning. Mr. Bew, can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so what's going on in your mind about why this persists?
Well, I've heard what I think Magaji, is it Magaji? Yeah, said, and I think I concur with what he said, given the historical background of this crisis from 1987 to 1992 crisis, and maybe to about 2000, the Sharia crisis and so on. We really have to go back to the historical issues that necessitated this kind of conflicts between the indigenous and the settlers, and also go back to the recommendations by the panels of inquiry or judicial commission of inquiry that were set up by various regimes. Look at the recommendations and see how you can implement them for peaceful coexistence among these people that have been living for years. And in my mind, I think some of the issues that we are having there are political, being engineered by some politicians. Otherwise, people, over the years have lived peacefully. They have tolerated each other. They have coexisted peacefully. But in the last maybe 30 years or so, we have had...
Is it your view then that government has been, do we say, negligent and foot dragging about solving this problem?
No, you cannot. You see, that's what I'm saying. That if some of the recommendations, or if the recommendations of the Judicial Commission of Inquiry set up in 1987, 1992, and others were fully implemented, I'm sure the crisis we are having now wouldn't have arisen in the first place. Secondly, we also have to realize that because of political power or contest for political power, there has been a lot of instigations by politicians to bring crisis in that area, not only in southern Kaduna, but if we look at it, we have crises all over in the north. We have crises in Birningwari, very close here. We have crises in Kaduna and so many places of these bandits, farmers, herders, clash, etc. So really, in my opinion, I think we should give a chance to some of the mechanisms being put by government to settle this crisis. And most importantly, we must also cooperate with the security agencies, because some of these things that happen, really, if you look at it, people don't just come and attack people. Somebody must have said that. So if we don't share intelligence with the security agencies, then the community will be failing in protecting its own self.
Just one moment. You referenced 1987, the 1987 wildfire crisis, and of course the 1992 report that was a product of the Judicial Panel of Inquiry. In these 2 years, 87 and 92, we did not have civilian rule per se. We only had military rule. So between the military rule and the civilian rule, we haven't been able to solve this communal, problem over the past 30 or so years. What exactly do you think we are missing in solving this problem? Yes, you have mentioned a number of things, but it is curious that neither the security agencies, military or police, or the political class or governments of the successive governments of the military or civilian have been able to do anything concrete and decisive about this. Isn't it curious?
No government. The essence of government, like we always say, is security of the people and welfare of the people. No administration will be happy to see that its own people are being killed or there is insecurity in that area. So for us to say that government has not taken action, I think we are not being fair. Considering...
Just one moment, you said now that the issues are political. That's why I raised that issue.
No, this is what I'm saying, that some of the issues, for people who have coexisted for over 200-300 years peacefully, just in the last 30 years or so, for whatever reason, we've been having crises which are being engineered by politicians. And let me tell you, even if, for example, whatever happens in southern Kaduna, you now say, the way we read it in the papers, Fulanis attack so. But if it happens somewhere else, you said bandits. These are some of the issues that instigate people. We should be fair in reporting some of these issues correctly. So to me, government, in as much as government has all the powers at its disposal, but we, the community, must also help government in trying to bring peace and restore harmony within the area in which we live. Because if there is something happening, definitely we have traditional leaders, community leaders, and so on. And they get reports on what is happening in that area. So it should be, or they have the responsibility to report such things promptly so that security can be proactive. But it's only when things happen, then there will be security meetings, everybody will be blaming this person, blaming that person. I don't think it's good for us as a nation. So we should work together. That is the community, the security agencies. Government, on its own part, should ensure that if people are indicted in whatever commission of inquiry or whatever, then the necessary punishment as prescribed by our law should be meted on them so that it will serve as a deterrent to others. But as long as people who instigate or who commit this kind of crimes are let free to move freely, then you should expect reprisal attack on those who feel that they have been cheated.
Honorable Amos Mogaji, you want to react to some of the things that you just heard Mr. Biu say, especially about the fact that there are some political undertones? Do you agree with him?
I wouldn't completely say no. the political undertone or the political angle to that problem may not even be localized. It can come from different angles. It can come from the state. It can come from the federal. Like you said, politics is all about governance. Politics is all about security of life and welfare. So in handling these issues, I want us to really look at it critically. You see, there's no way you would deal with the problem of Southern Kaduna and not look at the issue of inequality. If you really want to solve the problems, it is part of the problems. And then, like he said, a white paper or recommendation committee had been set up to investigate that issue, and then there was no implementation. So if government really wants a lasting solution to a problem, I know that there are immediate solutions to problems to quench an immediate problem, but there are also long-term strategies to deal with problems, which will go to the root cause of the matter. But most times, when there are problems, we gather, keep having meetings, resolve, let's talk to ourselves, and so on, and, you know, appeal to everybody to be law-abiding. But after that, what happens? We don't go back to look at the root cause of those problems. And until we deal with the root causes, we cannot have a lasting, solution. So my own concern is government should look at this thing, because you see, okay, look at the problems we're having right now. Because we have allowed this thing to linger, it has now stressed the security apparatus in that area. So if we really want peace, and I dare say nobody in Southern Kaduna, the Hausa, the Fulani, the tribal, indigenous, the natives of the owners of the land, all of them want peace.
Naturally.
Because if they don't want peace, they would have left that area.
So
we need
as we wind down now, Magaji, just a moment.
Some of those flashes, some of those things that...
Let's wind down now to get both of you to speak on this matter. Now, there are several reports that we've seen, several communities. It's not just peculiar to Zangon Qatar. We've seen in Plateau State, in Benue State, in Taraba State, different scenarios playing out. And sometimes it doesn't look as simple as some paint it to be, farmer-headed clashes. No, there are more intricate and complex matters. So also is the solution to some of these things. So what role, I know that you talked about the white paper and different things that have been done, but do you think that the communities, community leaders themselves, have to actually approach this in a different way? Do they see it beyond farmer-headed clashes, or that is what they see it as?
There are different angles to this. I believe that, first of all, the land issue has always been the problem. Like, it's not just the issue of this land belongs to this land belongs to this. But you see, we really need to look at, as a nation, our laws concerning grazing. Because if it is not land dispute, most times, when you look at the crisis around between farmers and herders, has always been, okay, somebody's, cattle entered into somebody's farm, destroy his crops, and the person probably in reacting may not report this issue to the security agent or the local governing system that they have, like traditional ruler. Some of them would take the law, will apply the law and then go about probably just dealing with the issue immediately.
Just a minute, Honorable Magaji, just in conclusion to this, could you just tell me, I mean, these communities, have they ever bothered to find out from those who trample on their products why that happens, to understand why it's going on, with a view to seeing how we could change mindsets if something is wrong?
Yeah, I sat with the community during this crisis, I had a meeting with the leaders of Fulani, leaders of Hausa, leaders of the Katab. I had meetings with the Islamic group, the Christian group, and all the stakeholders in that community. And one of the problems that some of them said is that they were complaining that right now, many adults are not leading their cattle. They leave it in the hands of children. And then some, when they are flipping through their phones, they allow the cattle to graze into. We've seen it even in Abuja here, that sometimes cattle graze even on roads. And then when you look at the people that are leading or controlling, shepherding these cattle, you discover that most of the time they are children. So sometimes we also need, I won't say that cows are there, and then the people in Southern Kaduna are also living in peace with this Fulani. I have Fulanis living in my ancestral family land. So I wouldn't say that people don't like Fulani to stay there. But the issue is that when they are grazing, they should be sure that they graze properly, not to enter people's farmland. And then if Fulani enters your farmland, you shouldn't go and start attacking the cow or attacking the Fulani. Go and report the issue to the traditional rulers or to the security agents that are in that place.
All right, then. Let's bring in Mr. Bew to give us his thoughts as well before we wind down. Mr. Brian Bew, could you go ahead and speak? I understand you wanted to just come in at some point. Go ahead now.
No. I think I agreed with most of the suggestions he's making. In fact, traditionally, the Fulani and the farmers, or the herders and the farmers, coexisted. And if for any reason your cow or your cattle goes into somebody's farm, you know, the Fulani, they have their own leaders called Artos. And these issues are being settled between the Arto and the community leaders. And the Fulani is made to pay for the crops that were destroyed. But that system somehow has been abandoned. So if now a cow goes to somebody's farm and eats it, the next thing is that the farmer picks up his gun or whatever, another shoots the cow or even the shepherd. So that generates crisis. We have had reports of that kind of issues. So just like he suggested, let's go back to the traditional system of resolving this kind of crisis between farmers and herders. And also, let me appeal to our politicians. For God's sake, most of us reside in the cities. But if something happens in the villages, you instigate people. This is very unfair. We were not treated like this. Most of us that are above the age of 60, I mean, we had peaceful coexistence. I've been in Kaduna for over 50 years of my life. I went to Barrier College to university, and I went with many people from Southern Kaduna who are still very close friends of mine. If there is anything, we attend their ceremony. We live together. Some of them are Christians. I am a Muslim. But this is not an issue between us. We look at that relationship. Well, when we were kids, we were all brought together. So let's go back to that kind of system. That is the only solution. But as long as some of us, for whatever interest, personal interest, try to instigate people to cause crisis while you stay in the comforts of Kaduna or Abuja or Zaria, I think we are not being fair to our community.
And that's a good place to let it go. Mr. Ibrahim Bew, former spokesperson for the ACF, and Honorable Magaji, representing the Zango Kataf in Southern Kaduna. Thank you both for talking to us today.